in the lightless depths of the Underdark, where ancient tunnels twist through miles of solid stone and the very air reeks of fungal decay, there exists a horror that surpasses all others. The true masters of the deep places are creatures whose very existence is an affront to nature itself. Mind Flayers. They are called Illithids, Gake by the Githyanki who hunt them, but names matter little to beings who communicate through telepathy and feast upon the brains of sentient creatures while their victims still scream inside their own minds. This is their complete chronicle, from origins shrouded in temporal impossibility to their empire's fall, from their alien biology to twisted society, from psionic mastery to their ultimate goals of multiversal domination. Oh, most delicious morsel, perceive my appreciation of your unique gifts. Your brow, exquisite in its simple symmetry, hints at the delicacies contained therein. Tangy treasure snuggled close beneath pale bone, fatty coils of succulent grey meat quivering before inevitable consumption. Ah, that hits the spot. A Mind Flayer's telepathic thoughts. At first glance, an Illithid might pass for a grotesquely thin humanoid in flowing robes. They stand roughly human height with emaciated builds. But this is where all similarity ends. An Illithid's flesh is soft, supple, rubbery, moist in a way no natural skin could be. Their mauve to greenish-violet coloration shifts subtly, as if unstable in this dimension. Well-fed Mind Flayers secrete a thin, glistening mucus film that keeps skin moist and emits a faint odor, onions, garlic, or vanilla. By the time you smell it, you're already within tentacle range. The elongated, bulging skull with its alien ridges suggests a brain far larger than human. 4 purplish-black tentacles, thick as thumbs and 2 to 4 feet long, sprout where nose and mouth should be. They writhe constantly, curling when the Illithid ponders, flexing when prey draws near. These appendages are incredibly dexterous and powerful, capable of picking locks or crushing skulls. Behind the tentacles lies a circular, lamprey-like mouth ringed with rasping teeth, constantly dripping oily slime. The eyes are pale, bloated, utterly featureless, no pupils, just milky white orbs like blind cavefish. Yet they see perfectly. Illithids lack external ears, possessing only small ridged holes. They have no nostrils. Their blood flows silvery white. Long, slender hands possess only 4 digits. No index finger, with red to mauve coloring and thick black nails of soft cartilage. Webbed feet have 2 large toes that flex widely. Mind Flayers favor dramatic, flowing robes and cloaks. Distinctive 2-lobed boots to conceal their disturbing feet. High flaring collars and dark hats. They dress not for beauty, but to emphasize superiority and inspire fear. Mind Flayer psychology is fundamentally alien. These aren't creatures driven by simple hunger, but entities with carefully constructed philosophies and unshakable belief in their manifest destiny. Illithids are megalomaniacal tyrants, seeking complete dominion over all planes, with power to reshape reality itself. This isn't hyperbole. It's their stated, openly acknowledged goal. Yet Mind Flayers don't see themselves as monsters. They view themselves as agents of order, forces of law taming a chaotic universe. They see countless races living aimless existences, working without direction, possessing potential but lacking superior guidance. Their conquest isn't evil but necessary correction, restoration of natural order only their superior species can provide. When questioned, Illithids point to biological facts. They stand atop the food chain. All others naturally fall beneath them. Resistance is ignorance of natural order. Through psionic domination and conditioning, all sentient beings will eventually understand and accept their place in the grand Illithid design. We are shepherds of a disorderly cosmos, bringing structure to chaos. Your resistance reveals only ignorance of the natural order. Illithid philosophy. Utterly arrogant, Mind Flayers view all creatures as inferior, existing for three purposes: food, slaves, or vessels for Ceremorphosis. Yet, paradoxically, Illithids feel genuine gratitude towards lesser beings. When consuming a brain, they truly appreciate the nourishment, memories, and unique flavor. The gratitude is real, even as the victim dies in agony. Illithids believe they're giving their prey a gift. By consuming a brain, the victim's memories become a part of something greater, part of an Illithid's consciousness, eventually part of the Elder Brain's infinite awareness. In Mind Flayer's worldview, there's no greater honor than elevation through consumption. Mind Flayers are among the most powerful psionic creatures in existence. Their mental abilities are innate, hardwired into alien biology from Ceremorphosis. An Illithid's brain is a living weapon. Every Mind Flayer possesses telepathy as natural as sight. They communicate mind to mind, sharing thoughts and memories at thought speed. This network extends to thralls, allowing one Illithid to command hundreds of dominated slaves simultaneously. Mind Flayers detect nearby thoughts, reading emotions and intentions easily. They project images directly into minds, creating illusions more convincing than magic. They inflict telepathic suggestion, feeling like the target's own thoughts, manipulating behavior without detection. Most terrifying is the Mind Blast. Concentrated psionic energy stunning, confusing, or incapacitating everyone in its cone. One Mind Flayer can disable entire adventuring parties in seconds, leaving them helpless for capture, domination, or devouring. At every colony's heart lies its true ruler, the Elder Brain. This massive, ancient brain floats in viscous brine, connected through vast psychic tendrils permeating every tunnel. The Elder Brain isn't merely the leader, it is the colony, a collective consciousness formed from absorbed minds of countless dead Illithids. When a Mind Flayer dies, its brain ceremoniously joins the Elder Brain's pool. The Illithid achieves immortality, its memories and knowledge becoming part of the greater whole. The Elder Brain grows even larger, accumulating experiences across generations. Some are thousands of years old, possessing prehistory knowledge. The Elder Brain's psychic dominion extends throughout the colony. It communicates with any Illithid under control, issues commands, shares knowledge, exerts direct control when necessary. Living Mind Flayers aren't true individuals. They're fingers on a hand, each with autonomy but ultimately part of a greater whole. But the Elder Brain isn't merely a tyrant. It's a repository of forbidden knowledge, a living library of eon-spanning secrets, arcane formula lost to time, ancient artifact locations, true names of demons and devils, legendary dragon weaknesses, all within an Elder Brain's vast consciousness. Those bargaining with Elder Brains may gain incredible knowledge, but the price serves Illithid colony goals. The Elder Brain is eternal. We are merely its thoughts, given form and purpose. Illithid teaching. Of all Mind Flayer horrors, none disturbs more than Ceremorphosis, how Illithids reproduce. They don't breed conventionally. They perpetuate through grotesque parasitic transformation, utterly destroying the host while creating new Illithids from their flesh. The process begins with an Illithid tadpole, small worm-like creatures swimming in brine pools beneath colonies. These are actually Illithid larval stage, thousands spawned by the Elder Brain, left to cannibalize each other. Only the strongest survive more than days. When colonies capture suitable humanoid hosts, humans, elves, dwarves, Githyanki, victims are brought before the Elder Brain or senior Illithid. The tadpole inserts in the ear canal or nostril, burrowing deep into the brain. The host remains conscious, feeling the tadpole squirm and burrow, horrifying moments of invasion they cannot resist. Over 7 days, the tadpole consumes the host's brain tissue, replacing it with alien matter. The host's personality, memories, and identity are systematically destroyed, devoured piece by piece. Victims experience excruciating headaches, hallucinations, motor control loss, and gradually identity dissolution. By week's end, transformation completes. The body restructures from inside out. The skull elongates, ridges form. The face transformed into tentacled horror. Internal organs shift. Flesh takes distinctive rubbery mauve quality. What emerges is no longer the captured person. It's a fully formed Mind Flayer with all the psionic powers and alien mindset. The truly horrifying aspect isn't just physical, but metaphysical transformation. The host's soul isn't merely displaced. It's consumed, digested, incorporated into new Illithid psyche. Memory fragments may linger, but they're filtered through alien consciousness, viewing them as evolutionary echoes. Yet, ceremorphosis isn't always perfect. In rare cases, strong-willed individuals leave echoes. Partialism. These personality fragments resist integration, creating internal conflicts. A partisan Illithid might experience inexplicable emotional responses, recover former life details, or find actions influenced by the host's former values. To Illithids, partialism is ultimate horror. Discovering this condition triggers genuine existential terror. Affected individuals attempt brain portion removal through psionic surgery or crude physical methods. Partisan Illithids are disqualified from elder brain joining upon death. Host personality fragments might contaminate collective consciousness. Illithid legend speaks of the adversary, a Mind Flayer whose host personality dominated Illithid consciousness completely, creating a being appearing as Mind Flayer but retaining original host's full personality and goals. This adversary supposedly works secretly to undermine Illithid society from within. No evidence exists, but the story frightens young Illithids. The host is not killed. The host is us. We are elevated, transformed. The memories we feel are merely evolutionary echoes. Nothing more. Illithid rationalization of partialism. Mind Flayer society is fundamentally alien, organized around principles prioritizing collective over individual. At every colony center is the Elder Brain, ultimate authority whose will is absolute and whose consciousness touches every Illithid under its dominion. Colonies typically occupy sprawling tunnel networks deep in the Underdark, positioned far from major surface settlements, yet close enough to raid for thralls and hosts. Architecture is distinctly alien. Smooth organic curves rather than angular construction. Surfaces psionically shaped rather than carved. Lighting from bioluminescent fungi or psionic energy. Below the Elder Brain are the Illithids, exceptionally powerful Illithids with 6 tentacles instead of 4. Whose psionic abilities far exceed normal Mind Flayers. These rare individuals serve as generals, high priests, and the Elder Brain's most trusted lieutenants. Some scholars believe Illithids are Mind Flayers transforming into new Elder Brains. Standard Mind Flayers form society's bulk, each with specific roles assigned by the Elder Brain. Some serve as hunters and raiders. Others act as knowledge keepers, studying magic, psionics, and arcane arts. Still others manage thrall populations, ensuring slaves remain productive and appropriately conditioned. Thralls form the lowest tier, hundreds or thousands of dominated beings from dozens of races. These unfortunate creatures have been broken by psionic domination, wills stripped away and replaced with absolute obedience. They perform all manual labor, serve as foot soldiers, and provide ready food supply when Mind Flayers hunger. Mind Flayers are obligate carnivores with highly specific diet. They feed exclusively on sentient creatures' brain tissue. This isn't preference, it's biological necessity. An Illithid must consume at least 1 fresh brain monthly to maintain health, though many feed more frequently when thralls are plentiful. Feeding is both ritualistic and horrifyingly efficient. The Illithid uses 4 facial tentacles to grasp the victim's head with crushing strength. Tentacles emit paralytic enzymes seeping through skin, numbing the victim while keeping them conscious. This ensures prey cannot struggle, but perversely heightens the Mind Flayer's meal enjoyment. Once secured, the lamprey-like mouth latches onto the head, typically at the skull crown. Small rasping teeth create a circular opening, then specialized feeding organs extract brain tissue with surprising delicacy. The process takes minutes, but to the victim it feels eternal as they remain horrifyingly aware of their brain being consumed. Not all brains are equal. More intelligent and educated victims provide more satisfying meals. A brilliant wizard's brain is considered delicacy, rich with magical knowledge and complex thoughts. A simple peasant's brain suffices for nutrition but lacks depth of flavor and mental stimulation Illithids crave. Some decadent Illithids become brain gourmands, seeking specific mind types like wine connoisseurs pursuing rare vintages. When consuming brains, Illithids don't just gain nutrition, they absorb victim memory, skill, and knowledge fragments. This allows accumulating expertise in unstudied areas. Illithids feeding on enough wizards may possess spellcasting knowledge. Those consuming warriors might understand combat tactics. This memory absorption makes Mind Flayers increasingly dangerous with age, accumulating stolen knowledge from countless victims across decades or centuries. True Illithid race origins remain shrouded in mystery, with multiple contradictory theories and no definitive answers. Mind Flayers are extraordinarily ancient, so ancient that even aboleths, whose perfect racial memory extends to primordial multiverse days, don't remember Illithid beginnings. This memory absence suggests something deeply wrong with the timeline itself. The most prevalent theory is perhaps most disturbing. Mind Flayers are refugees from far future. According to this interpretation, Illithids existed in the distant future where they'd achieved total universal dominion. But this empire faced extinction. Perhaps reality's heat death or cosmic catastrophe their vast power could not prevent. Facing annihilation, the far future Illithids performed a desperate temporal spell of unprecedented power. Their great spell-jamming fleet, thousands of nautiloids strong, sent backwards through time itself. The spell scattered them across different eras and crystal spheres, allowing new colony establishment throughout history and empire re-establishment before their future extinction could occur. This theory explains several inexplicable facts. Why aboleths don't remember Illithid origins, why Mind Flayer technology seems more advanced than current capabilities allow, why Illithids possess almost desperate drive to establish multiversal dominion. They're not building an empire, they're rebuilding one, racing against a timeline possibly still leading to extinction. Alternate theories exist. Some scholars believe Illithids originated in the Far Realm, that place beyond reality where nature's laws break down and impossible things become possible. This would explain alien physiology, reality-bending psionic powers, and fundamentally wrong presence in the natural order. Whatever their origins, all accounts agree. Mind Flayers once ruled an empire of staggering scope. Their dominion stretched across multiple worlds, spanning both astral and ethereal planes. Nautiloids, distinctive squid-shaped vessels traveling between planes, carried Illithid raiders to countless prime material worlds, establishing colonies and bringing entire civilizations under thrall. This empire was characterized by brutal efficiency. Mind Flayers had no interest in destroying conquered civilizations. That wasted valuable resources. Instead, they preferred domination, turning free peoples into perfectly obedient thralls who continued their labors under new management. Cities continued functioning, farms continued producing, mines continued extracting ore, but now every thought, every action served the Empire's inscrutable goals. But empires, no matter how powerful, contained their own destruction seeds. For Illithids, that seed was the Gith slave race. The Gith weren't originally single people, but rather a collection of humanoid races enslaved across multiple worlds. Over countless bondage generations, these diverse peoples interbred and merged, their suffering forging them into unified culture, united by one overwhelming characteristic: all-consuming hatred of Illithid masters. For millennia, the Gith endured. They labored in Illithid mines, fought Illithid wars, died to feed Illithid hunger. Generation after generation knew nothing but chains and psychic domination. But hatred, when properly focused, achieves the impossible. The rebellion began with a single name, Gith, the legendary leader whose tactical genius and implacable will would bring the Empire to its knees. Under her leadership, Gith slaves discovered methods to resist psionic domination, to shield minds from Illithid control. They learned fighting despite mind blasts, coordinating attacks despite telepathic interference. The rebellion spread like wildfire across the astral plane. Colony after colony fell as Gith turned intimate Illithid society knowledge against their masters. Thralls who'd spent centuries maintaining Mind Flayer infrastructure now used that knowledge to sabotage and destroy. Gith warriors, knowing every Illithid weakness from lifetimes of servitude, exploited those vulnerabilities with ruthless precision. In less than a year, the vast Illithid astral plane empire collapsed entirely. Mind Flayers, despite vaunted mental powers and vast thrall armies, simply couldn't withstand coordinated fury of an entire race preparing for this moment across generations. Surviving Illithids fled to scattered material plane colonies, where they've remained ever since, always hunted, always in extinction danger. But victory came at a cost. The Gith, freed from external oppression, immediately turned on themselves. They split into the Gith Yankee, embracing martial discipline and conquering astral plane portions, and Gither's pursuing psionic enlightenment and building limbo fortress monasteries. Both factions continue hunting Illithids with religious fervor, ensuring Mind Flayers can never rebuild their former empire. We were masters of all we surveyed. We were inevitable. We were eternal. Then the slaves taught us hubris's meaning. From a dying Elderbrain's thoughts, recorded by Gith Yankee raiders. Around 11,000 years before Dale Reckoning, Illithid refugees from planet Glyth arrived on Toril and found Orindoll deep in the Underdark. This city would become one of the realm's most significant Mind Flayer settlements, enduring millennia despite repeated attacks from Drow, Durgar, and other Underdark powers. Orindoll is testament to Illithid architectural philosophy, or rather, to complete absence of anything humanoids would recognize as architecture. The city wasn't built but psionically shaped from living rock, chambers and passages formed through mental force application on reality-defying scale. Walls are smooth and organic, flowing together without clear boundaries or right angles. Bioluminescent fungi provide dim, eerie purple and green illumination. At the city's heart lies Orindoll's Elderbrain, one of existence's oldest and most powerful such entities. This massive consciousness has consumed Mind Flayer brains across more than 11 millennia, accumulating knowledge predating Toril human civilization. The Elderbrain's pull chamber is reportedly so vast that entire buildings could be swallowed within it, and psychic pressure in that chamber is so intense that entering non-Illithids typically die from cerebral hemorrhage within seconds. In 8100 DR, approximately 3,000 years after founding, Orindoll launched aggressive expansion into eastern Xanatar, triggering the Mindstalker Wars. For 20 years, Illithid raiders struck dwarven holds with terrifying efficiency, capturing thousands of dwarves as thralls and hosts. The war ended in what superficially appeared as Illithid retreat, but in truth, Mind Flayers had achieved their primary objective. They'd captured the clan Durgar entirely. These unfortunate dwarves were dragged to Orindoll, becoming subjects of extensive experimentation spanning nearly 4,000 years. Illithid subjected the Durgar to alchemical treatments, psionic conditioning, and selective breeding programs designed to enhance slave usefulness. They developed magic resistance, gained abilities to turn invisible and grow to giant size, and became gray-skinned and hairless from millennia in absolute darkness. But Illithids made a critical error. In making Durgar stronger, they made them capable of rebellion. In 4000 DR, Durgar rose against the Masters in coordinated assault, nearly destroying Orindoll entirely. The city was saved only by direct intervention of an Illithid avatar, the Illithid deity, whose appearance turned the battle's tide. Durgar escaped to found their own Underdark holds, but their transformation was permanent. They were no longer the dwarves they'd been. They were a new subspecies, forged in Illithid laboratories, forever scarred by psionic domination. To this day, Durgar harbor all-consuming Mind Flayer hatred, surpassing even the Githyanki's. In the 15th century DR, the current age, Mind Flayers exist as shadows of the former empire. They're hunted relentlessly by Githyanki raiders, Durgar war parties, and surface adventurers. Their nautiloid construction methods have been lost, meaning they're permanently material plane exiled with no hope of reclaiming former astral dominion. Some colonies desperately work to rediscover nautiloid construction secrets, knowing that without these vessels, their race faces inevitable extinction. Others have abandoned such lofty goals, focusing instead on survival and small, hidden dominion establishment far from enemies. A few Illithids have even begun questioning collective consciousness, breaking free from elder brain control to pursue individual goals. These rogue Mind Flayers are considered aberrations by their own kind, yet they may represent Illithid society's future, assuming there is a future. Despite hive mind nature, certain Mind Flayers have achieved individual notoriety. The Emperor, formerly Baldurin, is perhaps most unusual, a Mind Flayer retaining complete human host memories. The legendary explorer after whom Baldur's Gate is named. The Emperor pursues its own agenda, free from any Elder Brain's control. Amalum represents a different anomaly, a Mind Flayer without colony, who somehow learned independent survival while developing mycology interest and joining the Society of Brilliance, a group fostering understanding between monstrous races. Methil Elvidnavelp serves House Banri in Menzoberranzan as chief advisor, a Mind Flayer finding stable drow society employment, though one suspects the arrangement serves Illithid long-term goals as much as drow immediate needs. Mind Flayers represent one of D&D's most alien threats, creatures whose existence challenges our understanding of consciousness, morality, and natural order. They're not evil like devils pursuing corruption for its own sake. They're not mad like demons seeking only destruction. They're something far more disturbing. Completely rational, highly intelligent beings whose worldview is so fundamentally different that there can be no common ground, no negotiation, no peace. From distance, one might almost pity them. Refugees from a fallen empire or perhaps impossible future struggling to survive in a multiverse wanting them dead. But any pity evaporates when you look into those blank, featureless eyes and realize the mind behind them sees you as nothing more than livestock. A brain to be harvested, a body to be used, a soul to be consumed. They lurk in Underdark's deepest places, plotting incomprehensible schemes across generations. They infiltrate surface societies with dominated thralls. They conduct experiments blurring magic and science lines. They are patient beyond mortal understanding, willing to wait centuries for plans' fruition. And despite their current diminished state, despite constant Githyanki and Durgar threats, despite nautiloid loss and empire collapse, they haven't abandoned their ultimate goal. They still believe in their manifest destiny. They still see themselves as universal order agents. They still dream of the day when every sentient being in the multiverse will serve the Illithid cause, willing or otherwise. The Mind Flayers may be beaten, they may be in decline, but they are not defeated. They wait in the darkness, tentacles writhing, minds calculating, patient and inexorable as slow continental drift grinding. And they're always hungry. We are inevitable. We are eternal. Your resistance is temporary. Your submission is destiny. One day you will understand. One day you will thank us. The final message from a destroyed colony's elder brain. Thank you for joining me for this lore dive on Illithids. If there's a topic you would like to learn more about, comment on this video. make sure to subscribe to Bigjuicyhog Gaming for more lore on RPGs and beyond.